Verbal Tap fans, we have another it's a shitty UFC card, but we're doing it again. Like, screw it. If you can name the main card, congratulations. You're winning out over most of the UFC population, but that's what we're doing in terms of UFC scheduling now, which means it's time for Verbal Tap to show that proves fighting way easier from outside of the cage, especially public. They don't even have a picture on the UFC website for their co-headliner. It doesn't matter. I am your host, Kevin. With me, of course, Raph Esparza. Raph, how are you doing this evening?
You know, Kev, you could do a better job of selling this pay-per-view.
I thought I'd
normally you'd no, because normally you at least put on the facade that you like certain cards until we get to like the middle of Over Under, Kevin, and then we deal with it right then and there.
Oh, okay.
But now you said right up top, this is a shitty card. So get excited, everybody. You're going to listen to us talk about a shitty card.
This is a shitty card. How are we UFCing this? Like, Cyborg versus Yana Kunitskaya? It's like,
honestly, I will tell you this right now. I don't want to say Cyborg's opponent's name, because I fear I'm going to mess it up.
You are going to get in some trouble.
I feel it is very easily
a dicey name.
Mess upable, and I know that I have a certain thing I like to do on this show when I read names, but this one is close enough
should be
as
no different. This should be the standard treatment.
It's equality. I know, I get it. Thanks, though, Kev. All right, so let's say this. I know you guys are listening. I know you want to hear who our over-under guest is if you don't read the descriptions. So with a card so angerful for Kevin, we decided we had to go out and get one of the most beloved members of the 10th Planet family, someone who is near and dear to us and maybe even more beloved than his own instructor. So we went out to the South, Kev, because gotta love people from the South. They're polite. When they tap you, they say, "I'm sorry I hurt your feelings, y'all." And more importantly, I just think he's a better person than Brandon McCaffrey. So let's bring on one of Brandon McCaffrey's newest black belts, Matt Skaff. Matt, how are you doing, sir?
Guys, what's up, man? Listening to that intro, I couldn't help but think how many of my friends were on this show, how many guys I trained with. I was like, damn, but you're right. It wasn't the best card. So, but it was tough watching two 10th Planet guys fight on the card. And then I know OSP pretty well. And
I wasn't talking about that card. I was talking about the next card.
Yes.
Hold on,
talking about
Matt. Are you listening?
Okay, I was gonna say.
Where are we at here? Okay, are you sober right now?
Kev, calm down.
Hold on. I'm not going to act like OSP is amazing. And the fight card that happened yesterday, including some premier fights, were fantastic. I'm judging the future card.
Gotcha. So you're not into the T City versus Frankie Edgar fight? That's the whole card for me.
A fuck less about that fight, but I agree it's the best fight on the card. I agree with that statement.
Oh my.
Guys, everybody go to your respective corners. I'm going to pull in the reins here and get this ship back.
Does he get to go back to the not listening corner? Because I have a problem with that. I think he has to go back to a corner where they're still listening.
You know that this is the part when you're supposed to be nice to the guest. The part when you are not nice to the guest happens shortly. So if you could save it for the good radio that it is sure to give us, that would be great. Let's be nice and cordial to our friend Matt Skaff. Matt, I have to ask this right up top because it's the biggest news, and I feel it is something that you never overlook. You recently were given your black belt, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm gonna go ahead and put Brandon a little bit under the bus here because I know the relationship you guys have. You are an occasional co-host for him on his BMAX adventure or whatever he calls it. I don't know. Yeah. He has a podcast as well. I know that you're one of his favorite people, but he told me this in confidence, and now I'm going to tell you, which was, he said, Matt Skaff, he's the one. Now, I feel your dynamic doesn't allow him to always compliment you because he is kind of, he gives you a little bit of mess, and I see that he's beloved by everybody, but gives shit to his students in a way that I think, oh man, he's kind of mean sometimes. But for him to say that you're the one, how does that make you feel?
Well, it's kind of funny. We talk about the Matrix all the time, and Brandon always refers to himself as Morpheus, and he's never referred to me as Neo. But I guess maybe that's him secretly, you breaking the news that I am Neo. I don't know, but that would actually make a lot of sense thinking about it. But anyways, what
did Raph just crack a dynamic thing for you two, like on air here?
I think he did. I think he just made our relationship even stronger.
Has he been throwing pill options at you? Been like,
for
choose.
For you, it might be stronger. For Brandon, it might be violently more aggressively and antagonistic.
Hard to say.
Well, Brandon's getting old. And so, I think one day he's got to pass it on to somebody, right? I mean, he's legitimately convinced thousands of members of our beautiful community that he's a top practitioner. And, well, yeah, okay, I'm with you. Top might have been strong, but that he's a important member or a necessary member of the community. And I'm hoping one day that he passes on those skills to me and that I, too, can rise into BJJ lore.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's definitely not coming from the podcast, I'll tell you that much. But I think the more important thing to note here is the fact that in shitting on him and saying, like, I think he's fooled people into thinking that he's mas importante and I want to inherit that. It's kind of a weird dynamic to be like, ooh, he's not that important, but I want that not importance. So for future reference, perhaps, and it's just a suggestion, maybe finesse that thing and then go forth with it. You do you. But again, real question though. How did it feel to get your black belt, man?
It's really funny. When I first started, I started at SBG Gym. And it was run by two purple belts, and they didn't promote people. But I remember when I started, I was 20 years old. I guess I just turned 21, and I was like, I want to be a black belt before I turned 28. That was my goal. And I did it. I got it when I was 27 years old. I just turned 28, actually, Sunday. So I got it a month before I turned 28. And I probably had, you guys are going to think I'm so lame, but I had probably the lamest black belt speech of all time, in front of like all these people. Eddie's there, and it's like this big deal, you get your black belt. And it's really funny because when I started jiu-jitsu, I already kind of had that killer instinct, I joined to learn how to choke people, and beat people and, all that stuff. It was just like this big competition to me. And I was telling during my speech, I said, I really the black belt doesn't mean as much to me as jiu-jitsu taught me how to hug people, and I just, when I said that, I looked over at Eddie, and I don't know if he was the most proud he's ever been of someone giving a black belt speech, or if he was just that's the gayest shit I've ever heard coming from a guy that just got promoted. And so
I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. This is the one thing I don't want you to look into. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Bravo here to comment on Matt Skaff's comment about hugs.
I mean, shit, that's all I want to talk about because holy fuck, that was bad. Okay. That was bad.
The speech or the sentiment that hugging is
yeah, no, that's what I said. I said mine. I was like, man, I just love, I just want to give everybody here a hug, because, honestly, when they joke about it, I was a blue belt, purple belt, students would talk about, if you came up and, touched my shoulders or, Brandon's a huge hugger. You guys know Brandon. Brandon loves to give hugs, and he's all happy-feely. I was this, man, if you, touch my shoulder, I'd, jump. I'd be I'd have, talks with people. I was like, hey, guys, seriously, nobody touch my shoulders. I don't hug. I don't do that. And, now I've really just turned to 180, and man, I'm hugging people all the time. So yeah, that's been my black belt journey. Maybe
good
a little
for
bit
you.
different.
I think that's a remarkable because there's a whole hero's journey into you've learned and you progressed and you become a more all around human. That's great. And who cares if you didn't give a great speech? Here's a real sad fact. A lot of people who do the jiu-jits, they're not gifted with the words. Now, the more egregious part of that is when they abuse that time and never stop speaking, because it does happen a lot. When people start that black belt speech and they go, guys, I don't got a lot to say. And 15 minutes later, you're like, wait, are we at the part when they started jiu-jitsu, or are we still on some other shit? And let me say this. We love the Eddie Braj. We love the edgy. But I don't think you should ever have to apologize for being a
hugger?
That kind of speech. When I have heard Eddie use seminar time to discuss some of his theories that have nothing to do with jiu-jitsu. I'm just saying. I've seen him do...
I've heard Eddie, the first seminar I ever went to with Eddie, I was a white belt, and he spent the first 45 minutes trying to get everyone in the seminar, help him interpret one of his dreams.
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
At a certain point, don't you get to charge him, though? I feel dreams are a little bit more like, okay, cool. Are we supposed to do a Rorschach test at the end of this, too?
But that's the thing about an Eddie Bravo seminar is people are there for that interaction, even more so than that's what they're there for. So
100%. I said that when he was at the 10th Planet Pasadena opening, because there was a moment that he did bring up a very recent shooting that had happened at that time. And, I looked over and I go, I mean, we all know him and we love Eddie, and we know that he has certain opinions that may ruffle some people's feathers, but it's kind of like, if he didn't do that, would you feel that he's a clown that showed up at a kid's party who didn't do balloon animals? Would you be disappointed?
100%. We have people that don't train jiu-jitsu that pay to come. We've never seen them, and they're people in our town, and they'll pay $100 just to listen to the seminar.
That's fascinating.
Every time that happens. Yeah, multiple people, not just one. It's not the same person. It's always somebody different. And so, yeah, I think he knows that. And I don't know. I haven't figured out if Eddie's a troll, if he's just this ultimate troll, or if, I don't know. I don't know. My
God. I hear you.
Love Eddie, though. You got to love Eddie. You have to love Eddie. Eddie's...
you better. The other option don't go so well.
Yeah, good save though. Good save. You keep your black.
Yeah, no, I was like, wait. I was like, wait. I got to say how much I love Eddie. Though I got to make people know that I do. I love Eddie. I love Eddie Bravo. So,
I mean, think about it though. When you know that it is one of those things that he's gonna go off, and you love your uncle, but they'll say some stuff, but you love your uncle.
Love him.
That's what Uncle Edgy is.
No one's listening here tonight, Matt. You got plenty of time. I mean, he's not going to hear it. The sheer amount of time he spends on the Rogan podcast
this
dictates
is the thing I love
he has
about
no amount of time to listen to other podcasts.
That's a good point. And he's definitely not listening to my podcast. But what I'll say is the thing I love about 10th Planet is that, in all honesty, I'm free to hate Eddie. I really do feel like 10th Planet, it really allows you to be unique. It allows you to be an individual. I've never, that's what's been really unique about my journey is I can train anywhere, anytime. I can come in, I can do rubber guard if I want to. I'm probably I was joking with somebody, I've conned 10th Planet into giving me a black belt. I've never done an electric chair sweep. I've legitimately never done an electric chair sweep. I don't know how to finish a twister. I never play rubber guard. I don't even have a full guard.
You're going to say this all on the air. You're going to say I've never done a twister.
Hold on, Kev. I can fake news this right now.
Okay.
Right now. I think, if I recall promptly, I don't even know if you finished it, but I feel like when we rolled Skaff, you were pretty close to a twister, if not finished it. So I feel you're just saying false things now.
Yeah, now he's trying to go the other way. He's like, I love Eddie Bravo. I've never done a twister. What are you talking about?
Twister, I hardly know her. Oh my God, right?
I've never heard of what's a twister? That Bill Pullman movie? It's all right, go on.
It's Bill Paxton. Everybody knows that, Kevin.
Excuse me.
You contribute to the problem when you do shit like that.
Wait, was it was Helen Hunt, right? She was the hottie in that.
Oh, now
She
you
was.
now the details are flooding back to you.
There we go.
Hey, Matt.
There we
It
go.
was a great 1-2 punch because it was
I
the
guess
year of
he does do
1996.
sub twister. If we're just
Because let's be very clear, we should redoctor that photo for this episode, by the way. Let's be very clear. 1996 was a great year for both Bill Paxton and Bill Pullman. Bill Paxton was chasing tornadoes, and Bill Pullman gave the greatest American president speech ever. So, ladies and gents,
not the same guy.
Not the same guy.
Okay. I mean, I believe it, but.
So anyway, let's do this, because if people have stuck around to hear the Edgy Braj talk, they are here to listen to us take them through this card, Kev. But before we do, I do want to say this. Kevin, what is it that you want to know about Skaff before we go into the insult portion of this show?
I could use some generic weaknesses. Like, obviously, he struggles to adopt some of the 10th planet. I have a strong problem believing some of it, but don't worry. I'll be using it throughout the rest of the game. What are some of the weaknesses, both emotionally, personally, as a human being, and maybe as a jiu-jitsu practitioner? I could use,
Well, by far mine, and I actually gave these. Brandon wanted me to talk to our guys about confidence. And at Blue Belt, all right, I remember this is like a real famous story. I don't want to say famous, but around our parts, people talk about this all the time, and Brandon will bring this up all the time, is that when I was a Blue Belt, like I was kind of, I had good
years ago.
Blue Belt, though. Yeah, I'm a blue belt years ago. Yeah, I'm a blue belt. And most of the people at that time in Alabama, especially, there might have been 4 black belts. Like most people were purple belts at that time.
There was only 17 people that could read, let alone black belts. There's a lot of turnover.
Yeah, YouTube really helped the Alabama jiu-jitsu scene. But anyways, when I was a blue belt, somebody asked me, Marcelo was huge at the time. They said, "Hey, do you think you could roll around with Marcelo and not get tapped?" And I was like, dude, Marcelo couldn't tap me. You're telling me that it's a 6-minute round? All I'd have to do is play defense. Like, I honestly thought that Marcelo Garcia, when I was a blue belt, couldn't tap me. And so I would say that's a pretty big character flaw, because that's just ridiculous. And if I heard a blue belt say that today, I would think they were, mildly, I would think they were just a complete idiot. And so there's one. I have extreme confidence in myself, and to the point of saying just absolutely ridiculous things like Marcelo Garcia couldn't tap me when I was blue belt.
No, I hear you. In relationships, I tend to care too much, so I think we have similar problems. I think we're right on. Raph, I mean, I'm not going to tolerate any more humble brags as we head into.
As
a blue belt, I just thought I was too good. I'd say that's my biggest weakness.
Yeah.
This is definitely the employee interview. That's like, I care too much. Definitely, 100%. Good call,
I'm just
Kev.
too loyal, I'd say, as a person.
I mean, I don't want to say that my defense was too impenetrable at blue belt,
but it was as close to Fort Knox as anyone's ever seen in the body. That's what I know.
I don't know if anybody had seen my neck until recently, but I mean, I don't know.
Kev, I do have to say something in his defense, which is he has one of the best rear naked choke defenses I think anybody has ever seen. And it looks like it is, how do I put this? This was the Show the Art finisher show?
It was against Mike Davia, two-time EBI semifinalist.
Okay. So. Now he sinks in a full rear naked choke, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. How did you get out of that? Because
it's really funny. I'd been working this for a while, and like nobody believes. You tell people like, "Yeah, I'm escaping rear naked choke without my hands." Like, I mean, you just say that, and they're like, "Well, what about a fully?" Like, they just didn't understand. I'm like, "No, I'm talking about like I was talking to my buddies, and like 10th Planet guys, like brown and black belts." And I was like, Brandon was trying to tell him too, like, no, Skaff's like escaping these like rear naked chokes without his hands. Like he's like getting in fully locked in rear naked chokes and escaping them. And like nobody believed it. They thought that was like the stupidest thing they'd ever heard. And I was starting, like visitors would come in like and take my class. And I was in the middle of the class, like I was having them like, hey, put me in like a fully locked in rear naked choke and I want you to tap me. And like I was escaping, And so anyways, when I went to the show the art, I was like, man, and I saw Mike Devilla's first round. I was like, man, Mike's an EBI semifinalist. I just thought, I said, if I could escape Mike Devilla's fully locked in rear naked choke, at least people would have to give me some credit, And then that happened. And man, I get messages still to this day. People like, just like, dude, I watched that video. I have no idea how you did it. Like, can you like help me? That's, I don't know. So.
Okay, I have another follow-up question on that one, which is, again, Kev, I want to make sure before I get to my question, in case you were confused, Matt has like complete confidence.
No, I got it. His second biggest flaw is that his defense is really good.
Sure.
I'm following.
But the question I have here is, why did you develop that? Because it's cool when it works, but there has to be an origin story that takes you to the moment where you say, no one will submit me and I will go to sleep several times, or better yet, I will have to tap multiple times in order to get there. There's the origin story that I've never heard that I would like to get, I guess.
So there's this long story, but I train with, so I'm super lucky, and like Brandon is my main teacher and he's been with me, but I also train a lot with Daniel O'Brien down there at Tribe Martial Arts. I train down there 3 times a week with him in the mornings. And Daniel is, and like, it's hard to explain, like Daniel, people don't understand, like Daniel doesn't use attributes. Like, it's the most insane thing you've ever felt. I've never rolled with any. I've rolled with tons of like guys in Abu Dhabi. I've competed against guys who are in Abu Dhabi. Like, I've rolled with like quite a few legends, of the sport. And Daniel is I've never felt anything like Daniel, And Daniel's this like, sometimes like he'll explain like his techniques, like, when you watch him, like a lot of people are like, man, I'll just double leg that guy. He just stands straight up. But Daniel feels like a tree rooted in the ground, and that's what he says. He uses these like really weird, sometimes like, yeah, just like root yourself into the ground like a tree. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? To a normal person. But anyway,
steroids.
Daniel,
I'm just
I
guessing.
would like hold Daniel in a rear naked choke, and I couldn't finish him. Like, I didn't understand, and so I got that from him, and I added some details to it. But I got the idea from him because I put him in a fully electric rear naked choke, and I'm like, man, I've got a really good rear naked. I feel like I've got a pretty good rear naked choke, and he just would let me put him in a rear naked choke, and I would hold it for like, it's so uncomfortable. Like, I've never felt more helpless than, and I try to explain this to guys, like, if somebody said, hey, I'm going to let you start, you're going to put me in a fully locked in rear naked choke and go. And then that person gets out, like, you can feel somebody, like, you can feel their belief in themselves kind of die. It's a really strange thing, and I've just been there multiple times, and I just know, like, I would rather get tapped 50 times in a round than this guy literally let me start him in a fully locked in rear naked choke and I can't finish. Like, there's something that is very,
hold on. I'd rather get finished 50 times.
I would.
What if one of them was by rear naked choke? There's fair questions in that metaphor. No, I'm with you.
Well, but there's something about, again, like, whatever. Just imagine whatever your favorite technique is. Imagine somebody just letting you get there over and over again. Like, I'm talking about, and they're not even fighting. Like, cause like even in that video, it wasn't like I freaked out. It's just a very calm, like, it's a very weird feeling. It's almost heartbreaking. That's the word. It's like there's this level of heartbreak when you get your favorite move and you can't finish it. And especially when the guy lets you lets you start there and you can't finish it. It makes you feel very inadequate, It's a strange feeling. And so, yeah, I knew that was a feeling that I hated having when I grappled, and I wanted to create that for myself. And so I just started working with white belts, and then I took it all the way up to an EBI semifinalist. So, yeah. That's where kind of that all started. And so what I'll tell people, like, when people ask me, is like, I use my shoulders a lot. Like, you can't really see it, but like, I'll use my shoulders to kind of bump the choke off, and it'll create a little bit of space. So that's
you'll
a lot
walk with them when you say with your shoulders. Like, will you use them to kind of purport yourself up, or will you just like start working backward?
So basically what I'll do is I'll connect to the ground, okay? So I'll push my weight into my neck, okay? And then I'll lift one of my shoulders, depending on which side it is. And when I lift his shoulder, it takes his arm, the rear naked choke arm, it moves it a little bit. So it might move his elbow a little bit up, for instance, and that gives you space. And from there, you can kind of and you'll feel, and it looks like you're in a fully locked in rear naked choke, but like you're not, you know. It's one of those things. It's kind of like a Houdini magic trick, and that's what people always kind of say is like. But it's kind of like, you know, you're basically have the key to the handcuffs. That's what I'd say. Is like, but you can't see that key, you know, and so the handcuffs just. Wait, how'd the handcuffs get off? And it's like, well, the handcuffs were never really on. And that's kind of what's going on there, if that makes any sense. It's like,
it does.
Yeah, it's a fully locked in rear naked choke, but, you know, there's a couple things, small things going on there that really there's not a rear naked choke.
I mean, to be fair, I have a very large head, so that does the bulk of the defense for me most of the times. So a lot of people will ask me what my trick is, and I just tell them, well, have a big head. A neck will support it. So, I mean, that's my secret, and I wish it upon many people. I just have to say this before we do transition to the actual game, which is I'm having a hard time trying to imagine a real training session for the particulars that both you and Daniel O'Brien would be doing, because all I see is him going blindfold and you saying, take my back. And somehow it just looks like a Frankenstein walking and you just like trying to like butt scoot toward him with your back. And honestly, tell me if I'm wrong on this, because Daniel O'Brien's defense is legendary and amazing. But are you guys doing shit like that? Because if we're all doing it wrong, just tell us now.
I'm telling you, especially Daniel, I could tell Daniel stories that just, I mean, there's times you'll walk in and he'll be grappling 3 people at the same time. I mean, there's times he's, you know, been blindfolded. Like when he did the competition blindfold, I was actually the guy that kind of got him to do it. I kind of egged him on because he'd been training like that for like 2 months, you know. And I was like, dude, why don't you just go compete like this? You've been training like this, you know. And you know, there's times he'll come in and he'll be, I mean, Daniel is, he's a samurai. That's what I'll say. And again, you don't know. He'll come in. He'll be grappling 3 people sometimes. Sometimes he'll be, you know, blindfolded, arm tied behind his back. I mean, and it's so yeah. I'm telling you, the training sessions are probably the weirdest training sessions going on in the world. I would definitely agree with that.
Okay.
And yeah, if you're not knowing what you're getting into, it can definitely be slightly, you know, a little awkward. Sometimes.
I'm just, you know, again, I understand it. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, you're pretty spot on with the, you know, with your description. So
I sometimes have an active imagination, and I don't want it to be fake news. I want to be the most accurate that I can be about this sort of thing. But you know what, Kev? I think it's time for us to transition to the game of Over Under Kevin.
And now it's time for another thrilling installment of Over Under Kevin.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to another installment of Over Under Kevin. I'll be hosting this portion of the show. Just wanted to let you guys know, if you've never tuned into this portion of the show, you are in for a delightful treat. The way it works is each participant here, Kevin and Matt, gets 15 seconds to say who they think is going to win at UFC 222. Now, here's the catch, though. If I so feel that they warrant extra time for rebuttal, I will give them as such. But I want to make sure that both of our participants know these are the rules and not only agree to them, but agree to play dirty. Gentlemen, do we have an accord?
Daniel O'Brien. Okay. He's excited. Daniel O'Brien, agree to them.
Ooh. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means he's going to play fair or if he's going to play with his hands tied behind his back because he thinks I'm an easy opponent.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard from reliable sources you have enough confidence to beat him at both. I won't reveal where I have those sources from, but I will just put that out there. Before we start, though, you've been very cordial to each other, and you got the opportunity to find out more about him, Kevin. But Matt, is there something you want to know about Kevin before we start? And mind you, time is money, so you have like less than 30 seconds to find out something deeply intense about Kevin.
Kevin, what type of haircut did you get when you were in 4th grade?
Yeah. Bowl cut. Let's.
Okay. I knew it.
Okay.
Bowl cut.
I wanted to make sure that's where you were going with that question, because you had the ability to ask anything, his greatest weakness, and you went to bowl cut. Okay.
Current fears, which are tremendous, but
one of which may or may not be having to do an EBI overtime round with you.
that would be up there if
back.
it became a reality. Yeah.
So anyway, gentlemen, just to let you know, we go out of order. So I'm going to go ahead and start at a fight that, I mean, it's as good as it's going to get. But we're going to start with Kevin, who's going to say who he thinks is going to win between Stefan Struve and Andrei Arlovsky. Go.
This is difficult because I honestly feel like I've bet against both of them in the recent history. I don't know what Stefan Struve I'm getting. I don't know how it feels. But whenever the Netherlands are taking on the Belarus, I have to go with the person that looks most like a werewolf, Andrei Arlovsky.
Andrei Arlovsky. All right, Matt, you've got 15 seconds.
Most like a werewolf, Raph. Please note the reason.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Arlovsky is, I will never choose Stefan Struve, ever. I would never choose Stefan Struve to win a fight. So this is an easy choice for me. I always root for the awkward and tall guy. I always root against him for some reason. I don't know why. I just do.
Little known fact, in this scenario, Kevin would be the awkward and tall guy. Do you regret saying that 15 seconds?
No, I knew that because he had a bull haircut. So
I think you're leading a little bit into it. Kev, what's your first note about Matt's predictions?
We've found weakness. I can smell it. He can smell it. We've ventured into a domain that doesn't have to do with ignoring the zombie guard or whatever Eddie came up with this week. Hey, the Black Widow spider guard is just around the corner, everybody. What I think we've ventured into is just a classic case of me dominating, taking over, imposing some of my purple belt confidence.
All right,
which is more of an audacious blue, if we're being honest. But,
well, Kev, I'm going to put you on hold there. We're going to go back over to Matt. Matt, you're going to lead us off on this pick with a fight between Mike Pyle versus Zach Attal. Go.
Mike Pyle's always game. He's also had some pretty good haircuts in the past. So, I like a guy that can mix it up. He's got more of an Alabama haircut. He's got some power. Mike Pyle with the knockout.
Kev, what do you have to say? Are you going for the Alabama haircut because of your roots? Go.
I'm from Kansas. Okay, I have no roots in Alabama. I have only aspirational roots in Texas. So I have to go with Zach Otto because it's the most Canadian-sounding name, despite him being a U.S. citizen. Zach Otto.
Question for Skaff. Do you feel that Kevin misread that in the same way that you misread the top of our show when we asked you about a UFC card? Go.
Well, I feel like choosing Canada is pretty much always a bad choice. So whatever his strategy was that round, I think he needs to get it together for round 3.
Someone didn't watch Bachelor Winter Games where a Canadian dominated.
Kev, here's a question. I just want to put 10 seconds on the clock for this one. What the hell is Skaff's deal with Stefan Struve? Did not know that was a thing.
I didn't know that was a thing either, but as soon as we brought it up, it got personal, and I was like, what, is he a part of Ninth Planet? I don't understand. Is he Pluto's the last one? Jiu-jitsu? What is this?
You do realize, though, I had to take an entire different fight before I could ask you about that question because I thought it might be a little too real for him.
It was personal. He was going to think you're taking this.
Kev, you're going to lead us off on this next fight. It's between CB Dalloway and Hector Lombard. Go.
Yeah. So I felt like I looked into the past and saw when the two of these two should still be fighting. And that person said to me, choose CB Dalloway because he's had like 18 less fights than somehow Hector Lombard has. CB Dalloway, through sheer, I hope they both survive.
Cool. Scaff, what do you have for us? 15 seconds.
I would definitely say when Hector Lombard lost to, Big Rig, I got to choose Dalloway, man. I just, anybody that's going to lose to Big Rig right now is not somebody I'm going to pick.
Okay. Kev, do you feel a little unnerved that he's starting to follow your strategy like a true defensive player?
I feel like Matt Skaff is just absorbing my half guard. He's setting me up. I'm setting him up for a nice topside choke because it's like, oh, all this guy's doing is just breathing and flopping around like a true Brandon McCatherine black belt.
Oh my God.
It's all defense and lesbianism. And I'm not nervous about it, is the point. I choose CB Dalloway. He chooses CB Dalloway. It's just, I assume I'll continue to do.
I'll go over here. Do you have a response to that, Matt?
A true jiu-jitsu master, all right, starts out defensive and waits for the counterattack when his opponent gets tired. And so knowing he's a purple belt, those guys usually last about 5-6 minutes, and then they're easy to kill.
Interesting. All right. Well, you're going to be the person to lead us off on this next one with all of your wonderful insight. And it's going to go into a fight between Jordan Johnson, which is a terrible name, versus Adam Milstead. Go.
Well, I don't know anything about either one of these guys. So I'm going to choose, I think it was Adam Johnson, just because, I don't know.
No, hold on. Time
Jordan
out. I've never
Johnson,
done this before on
but
this.
I love it.
Nope. You literally combined both of the fighters into one name.
He did.
Scaff, I have to say this because I had 3 jokes ready to go, but then I felt immediately bad when you combined both of them. It's like some sort of over-under Kevin dyslexia, and I would feel very bad making fun of you for that. So I need to work through my feelings on this, which is Jordan Johnson is a dumb name, and I stand by that. And then there's Adam Milstead, okay? It would help if you weren't going to say Kevin is a pathetic purple belt and I have this masterful black belt knowledge. If you could
Jordan
somehow
Milstead it is, Raph.
Right.
I've made a choice too.
Let's pretend that didn't happen, and let's go with Jordan Johnson. Final
Jordan
answer.
Johnson, because he was the first one. You locked it in. Kevin, what do you have for us? 15 seconds, please.
Well, his comment about me sticking around 5 or 6 minutes felt good because I've never stuck around for 5 or 6 minutes for anything. Jiu-jitsu, personal, professional, doesn't matter. Around 3 is when I get gassed out. Adam Milstead, the prototype, I will be taking for a pure abs vote.
Fair enough. Kev, we're sticking with you on this one. Misha Tate's ex, let's
Misha's
just say
pregnant.
that,
She's not
versus
fighting, right?
Cody Stem, man. What do you got for us? 15, go.
Oh, thank God. For a second, I mean, I'm just going to call it pure ecstasy. I thought for a second you were like, Misha's fighting. It's like she's pregnant. Yeah, she's ready. I'm going to go with Brian Caraway, Kid Lightning, because I hate that nickname. So I'm going.
Fair enough. Now, Matt, I'm going to ask that you use the bulk of your 15 seconds to answer if you would be okay if other pregnant ladies form their own league to fight each other. And then at the tail end, if you could just tell me who you think's going to win this one with like 3 seconds to go, that'd be great. 15 seconds up. You know what? Fuck it. 20 seconds on the clock for you, sir. Go.
Awesome. I'm a big proponent, being from Alabama, of women's
Pregnant women's
rights.
MMA.
And so if women that are pregnant want to fight, I'm all for that. And I think that it could provide extra defense for the liver shot. And so I would choose Caraway because he doesn't have those big distractions in his face.
Kev, do you have any response to that?
No, I'm just really relieved to hear someone from Alabama be like, we're definitively not into this. That felt good. Because until then, I thought it was 50-50.
I was a little nervous that he was going to say in his own way. Maybe he's doing this in the back way, but it felt like an anti-abortion stance.
It's finally
or
time.
Maybe it was an abortion stance. I'm not really sure because when he said the extra protection, I was like,
punch.
oh my God, Skaff.
I couldn't tell either. I'm just moving right past that to your accusation that there's like a pregnant woman back alley fighting ring in Alabama. And I think both are equally plot lines we should talk
I'm not
about.
accusing anything. I'm just saying let's throw it all out there. You know, Kevin, part of the reason why we have such a divide in this country is because we don't entertain the thoughts we need to. And I'm just saying, let's put it out there. Let's look into it, okay? So we just did. And now I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock because, Kevin, did you do that last one? You were the second one?
I started
so
with
you're going to lead
Caraway.
us off on this one. It is the co-main event between Frankie Edgar and Brian T. City Ortega. The best kind of next best fight you could get. Kev, what do you have for us? Because you said you didn't like it.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Brian T. City Ortega. And this is a real, I don't remember the last time I saw Frankie Edgar fight, choice. I'm a little nervous he's older than I remember. And that we're going to get a guillotine flying out of nowhere, but this is by far the most interesting fight on this card.
That's the compliment you have for it?
That's the compliment I have for it. Frankie Edgar fighting and Brian Ortega, easily the two most exciting fighters matched up. And I was surprised they were in the same weight class, but I was like, Frankie's getting bigger. Whatever. Sounds great.
Well, let's now venture over to Skaff. What do you have for us? You said you were very excited for this, so I'm actually going to give you 27 seconds. Go.
All right, perfect. So, being a jiu-jitsu black belt, you would think that I'd be all over T-City, but I'm choosing Frankie Edgar to knock out T-City. All right, that's what's going to happen. Sorry, Henner. No Gracie breakdown's going to save your boy.
Hey, hold on. This got really weird toward the end. There was like 3 things I have to address here. 1, do you think Henner listens to our show?
You know he does.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Do you drink acai?
Yes, it's actually very funny that you mentioned that. I listen in the corner, always keeping an ear out to see if someone brings up my name. However, I have to say, you are very unfounded, and this is the 4th time in the podcast I believe you have referred to yourself as a black belt. So one more, and everyone gets a free Subway sandwich, okay? Paid for by Gracie Online, not Verbal Tap. Anyway, Kev, do you have any response to any of that? Because it sounded like he was going to go one way, and then he veered left. And he did it under the guise of being a black belt. 10 seconds to you, sir.
I thought he had that loaded for someone that's relatively new at it. Like, it's about the journey. But as a black belt, I'm prepared to talk very swiftly. No, I'm just mostly trying to think about how to mentally avoid his heel hooks, if we're just being honest about where we are right now.
Skaff, do you want to take back anything before we just clip out of context the things that you said and send them to Henner?
Well, I have a lot of respect for Henner. Much like my instructor, they both are good at 1-minute hacks.
Wow. That one, I'm going to let the time expire on that one just because I want to let the burn just ease its way out of the ether of what we have here. Kev, I'm going to have to go with him next. He's asked to give the next pick. So before we do, though, do you have anything other than the word ouch to say in response to that?
I'm just prepared to take Brian to 65 seconds in the T City Ortega round, see what happens, and then be like, see, Brandon, crushed it. Just like
we'll
right in
say
his face.
Friend of the podcast up until this episode. So
up until this episode,
Brian.
both Brian T City Ortega and Brandon McCatherine, no one's friends anymore. But prior to this, that was a fun time in my life. I actually just watched a Brian T City Ortega video. I was like, yeah, that guy's guillotining me. Can't wait to try.
Yeah, and I think we've been at the same place, same time. Like he's close in with like the systems trainings guys and the folks over at Black House who are friends with us. So I think he and I have been in the same place at the same time, multiple places. But yikes for me, I guess, is what I'm saying here, people. Let's do this. All right. So, Skaff, you're going to lead us off on this next one. It's Benny DeRouche versus Alexander Hernandez. Wait, was he a Patriot? Was he the one who went crazy? Anyway, go ahead. 15 seconds, go.
I'm a big fan of Dariush. I don't know. I like his style. He looks like he's from the Middle East. I'm from the Middle East. No, I'm not from the Middle East, so that's roots to the Middle East. So, got to go with Dariush.
Okay. Kev, do we need to report him to certain immigration, say?
We definitely don't. This is a culturally enriched place by his presence. Plus, he lives in Alabama voluntarily, so we should just leave him alone. I'm going to take Hernandez over the Dariush bag Benail, and I feel great about my choice. And it's a little thing called reach.
I've let Beni get away with a lot of stuff in the past 2 times I've said his name because it's one of my favorite ones to screw up. However, Kev, I think you took the bag on that one. That's probably one of the best play on his names I think I've heard in some time. Kudos to you, sir. Your reward is to get to tell me who's going to win between Kat Zagato and Ketlin Vieira with 15 seconds on the clock. Go.
Yeah, the old Zingano-Vieira rivalry. I've been thinking about for a while. I'm going to stick with Colorado and just go with Kat Zingano because stock's up all around the area. She wins.
Thanks, Kev. All right. Skaff, what do you have for us on that? 15 for you, sir.
If I'm going to be honest, if I don't say Kat Zingano, I don't know the other person's name, so I'll probably do a hybrid of like Kat Hernandez or something. So let's go with Kat Zingano so I don't do that again.
Follow-up for you, Skaff. When you said, if I can be honest, have you not been honest with us this whole time? 15 seconds on the clock, please.
Honesty is overrated in our line of business. In a lot of ways, I feel like lying and scamming gets you where you want to be. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Kevin, anything on that?
I couldn't agree more. That's all I feel about that.
The one thing you guys have joined together on.
It's 2018. Let's be realistic about it. It's a lying and scamming based nation.
Let's do this. Skaff, you're going to lead us off on this one. It's John Dodson versus Pedro Munoz. Go.
I remember when John Dodson had just beaten TJ Dillashaw, and it was like, and he had that fight with Mighty Mouse. I think he dropped him one time. Since then, he hasn't looked so good. So I'm gonna go with the other guy. Dodson, his skids continue.
All right, that's one vote for non-Dodson. What do you have for us, Kev?
I like non-Dodson and Dodson he voted for Munoz then. The young Punisher. Well, I'm voting for the old magician, John Dodson, who normally tends to sweep up anyone ranked 5th through 12th and struggle 1st through 4th. I'm taking John Dodson.
Little known fact, Pedro Munoz is also a friend of the podcast, or at least was until now.
Till I voted against him.
Yes, very much so. Kev, you're going to go next, but hold that thought. I'm going to tell you right now, young Matt Skaff, we like to do a thing on the show where we put some wages and stakes. We don't do any betting for money because we're all jiu-jitsu artists and we don't make money. So my question to you is, sir, what kind of wagers? Or no, you know what? I won't ask you. I'll just have Kevin tell you some of the wagers he has won in the past. Kev, you mind telling him?
Recently, I won a T-shirt from Shirts Are a Jail Cell. Friend Nasty Nate.
Okay.
But the real prize was getting to talk shit on him being in the movie The Last Stand. I've had to change my social media Twitter handle to James Coe is awesome. I had to do a shoot where I took a direct Uriah Faber replica, though for some reason I couldn't look right. I kept looking left in the photo. That doesn't matter. You're getting the idea. A little social media call out, a little this, here that.
Hold on. Don't interrupt him just yet, though, because here's the thing I got to tell you before you say whatever you say, Skaff, is before we go any further, if you do have something in your head, don't say it now what the bet is. We'll do that at the end. But do you have a bet in mind?
Got it. Yep.
You have one. Okay, so save it if you do. But what else were you going to say if it had nothing to do with what the bet was going to be?
No, I just got the bet in my mind. I got a bet that I'd be interested in wagering with old Kev over there.
Okay, because I'll have important breaking news information at the very end of this regarding that bet. But let's go to our next fight. Kev, as I told you, you would be leading off. 15 seconds on the clock for Sean O'Malley versus Andre South. Hold on. Souk Ham, which sounds delicious. Thref. So Sukafeth. Kev, who do you got?
I've been thinking about this for a while. Not who's going to win, just how to pronounce Andre Sukafeth's last name. The Asian sensation. Look, I can't necessarily say Sean O'Malley is ready for this, but he definitely has the Conor McGregor tattoo. I'm choosing that with curly hair just because I want to see what happens. Sean O'Malley.
All right. What do you have for us, Skaff?
The Asian sensation, man. I'm a big Asian fighter fan, and so yeah. Let's see the Asian sensation. Jeez, that's a tongue twister right there.
How much were you waiting for him to just leave it as I'm a big Asian?
I was like, yeah, I'm a big Asian sensation fighter. Thanks. Just sort of leave it.
I really like Asians.
Yup, it's getting better. I want to make sure that future generations, when you listen to this, know that we were a culturally accepting time. So I want to make sure that's very clear. Okay, here we go on this next one, Skaff, and I'm going to give you 20 seconds because we have jiu-jitsu sweetheart Mackenzie Dern in her UFC debut against Ashley Yodeler. Who do you have?
I'm gonna choose against jiu-jitsu.
How dare you?
I'm gonna choose the Yodeler.
Dare you?
Yeah, I'm choosing the Yodeler. I don't know. I'm not like. Is Mackenzie Dern going to be the next UFC golden child to lose? I don't know.
Wow, Kevin,
going with the Yodeler.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm choosing Mackenzie Dern. To the jiu-jitsu community, everyone can exhale. I'm not going to pull a Skaff, as it will be known in the years to come. But I am pissed about UFC.com, who doesn't have Mackenzie Dern pictured. It's like, really?
Rude.
That's unprofessional web design. Unprofessional web design.
Yeah, it's a shame because she looks terrible. She wouldn't make that page look more appealing. She's not marketable.
There's no pictures of her whatsoever out there either. Like zero exist of people that would sell a picture of Mackenzie Dern. So how would they have gotten one,
All right. Yeah. Listen, I think the rest of jiu-jitsu, except for Matt Skaff, it should be noted, is rooting for Mackenzie Dern, even if she doesn't win or mysteriously doesn't make weight. But hey, those are issues we will deal with when we get there. I'm just saying Matt Skaff has been proven to hate jiu-jitsu. That's all. I didn't say it. She'll be fine. It said itself. Having said that, we are now at the last fight. Skaff, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to tell me who you think is going to win between Chris Cyborg and Yana. I'm not doing it.
You have to say a word. You have to say a word. You can't just say Yana. You have to say her last name.
It's like, okay, if you look at it long enough, you want to say what you're not supposed to say with that word.
Yana JCPenney's.
That's way better. K Units Skya. Got it. I did it. Okay.
K Unit.
Which is a missed opportunity for a nickname. 30 seconds to use.
I mean, Cyborg, you can't choose against Cyborg. The reason why is because she's Cyborg. The only fight that there is for Cyborg is Amanda Nunes. And so that's what I want to see. Let's get this one over with, and let's get Amanda Nunes in there.
Oh, okay. The command and decree heard. Kev, what do you have for us? 30.
This has to be the first time the main card has not had a pictured fighter on the UFC.com. I don't mean to bring that up too much because like the Dern thing's just offensive because it's lazy. This one's offensive because it's super weird. You have a professional fighter on the front that doesn't have a picture. I'll go ahead and take Chris Cyborg then, and can't wait to give you my money for this fight. Just can't wait, UFC. So excited.
Can we make a recommendation to people? Go find a bar.
Let's find a bar.
And just
support your local
order
community.
with your friends.
Yeah, let's find a
Do
bar.
what you need to survive. It is a rough economy out there. There's a tax break you're not getting. Okay?
You know it.
So I don't want you to don't give the millionaires more money on this one. I would say ask your friends, 20 of them, to come on over and, community it. Because I would pay about $5 with this.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that. $5 is good. You know what? Mackenzie Dern is fighting. I would give 10. 10 is good. So now that we've made our way through the entire card, just in the event we have a tiebreaker situation, we like to say who gets the 2 performances of the night and the fight of the night. And that is hopefully what we do to break the ties. Kev, who do you have getting the 2 performances of the night?
Well, to me, this is relatively easy. I have Ortega getting a performance in the night. I have, I can't, Mackenzie Dern, unpictured.
Okay.
And then fight of the night, I'm going with a Struve Arlovsky.
Excellent. Now, what do you have for us, Skaff?
I got my performance. I have Arlovsky. And then my other performance, I've got Frankie Edgar. And let's go fight of the night. Let's go on a limb here. And let's go CB Dollaway versus Hector Lombard.
Wow. All right. I mean, I've never told a guest no when they've gotten to this point. And I don't even think, okay, there's a 1 in 12 chance. So, yes, there are statistical odds there that it could be one of them. I'm just telling you I don't want it to be. So, there is that. Skaff, you said earlier that you had a bet in mind. We always like to defer to the guest. Now, before you tell us what that thing is, I want to tell you what the actual stakes are in this particular situation.
Okay.
I have routinely said nice things about Kevin to Brandon, who for years now has said he is dead to me. Now, why would he say that? Because Brandon has guested on this show multiple times playing this very game along with Kevin. Kevin lost to him, and Brandon, was promised a song that Kevin has never produced.
Ever.
And this is real. This is 100% real. When Brandon was just in Colorado, I said, hey, go visit Kevin. And he said the same thing he has said to me about Kevin for the past 2 years, which is it any closer to giving a song for me? Because I don't want to see him if he doesn't have a song for me. So on the line right now, you have the ability to surpass your mentor by potentially having Kevin fulfill a bet that he could never do. Now let's hear your stakes.
All right. So I'm kind of known around our gym and around some of the parts of the 10th Planet community for some of my no-gi attire. And so I think whoever wins this bet gets to decide what the loser wears to a no-gi class.
Kevin?
I accept. That's fantastic. I have many ideas involving an apron. What's going to be drawn on it? I might send it to him. Yeah, I accept.
Now, Skaff, having told you what Brandon feels about Kevin.
Brandon won't visit me until I write him that fucking song. All right,
Kev,
fine. This is
I literally can show you the message that I put to him, which was, oh, you should go visit Kevin. And he just goes, does he have a song for me? Because no. And I thought that was rude. And you don't normally hear that kind of rudeness from Brandon.
He's not wrong
unless
I think everybody
you are paying him to be a student. So having heard all these things, though, Skaff, does this make it a little bit more enticing to you to beat not only Kevin, but potentially Brandon?
You know, anytime I can one-up Brandon while winning a bet, I mean, that sounds like the plot of a good movie. So, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me.
A direct to Redbox one. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, it's definitely, I would say straight to Netflix, but Netflix it's
Netflix is
competitive.
100% way better than Redbox.
I know,
Redbox
that's what I
is
was
like,
gonna say.
you look at it and you just go, Bruce Willis is in this?
yeah.
Like, is he okay? So should someone check in on him? Because, oh my God. And then you go, Ryan Reynolds was in one of these cop movies? Who didn't tell me? Well, listen, Matt Skaff, the way that we like to play this game is, before we get you on out of here, we like to ask, would you be willing to come on next week's show after we all see the fights and talk about it and find out who won?
Definitely.
Fantastic. So we're going to get in touch with you to come back and do that next week. But before we do, can you tell people where they can follow you? Because I think it's important that people follow what you are doing and what is going on. I think that is something we should all be getting behind. So where can people find you? And I know you do classes that you teach out in Alabama, but I'm starting to see you make the seminar and the competition circuit. So
Yeah. Well, man, I've had quite a few competitions canceled this year. I've been trying to stay active. I've had 3 things canceled. So, anyways, hopefully you'll see me in action again. I'm feeling healthier than I ever have. I'm really looking to do the Abu Dhabi trials at the end of this year. I haven't done one of those in a couple of years. So, that's kind of my plan on that front. I've got a seminar in Asheville, North Carolina, at soon-to-be 10th Planet Asheville. So I've got that coming up April 6th. I believe it's April 7th, one of those 2 dates. But yeah, just follow me at Matt Skaff. And, in all seriousness, I'd love, my team, my coaches, Brandon, he's one of my best friends, basically family to me. And man, I've had a blast. Raph, you're the man, dude. If in all seriousness, I have put your name forward to be a commentator on EBI.
Yeah, that's not taking off anytime soon, but it is adorable, and I thank you for it. It's not to say that, it's a you problem. Like, I know you have credibility, but, like, they're not rushing to call me.
They're not. But I just want you to know that I've said it a few times. I think you should be on it. So,
I mean, let's put it this way, though, dude. I see TJ enough, and I see him do his job, and he's fine. But TJ every once in a while looks at me like kind of with that intent, and he's never really said this, but I feel it. He just kind of gives me that look like, you're ready to put on the headset if I pass out and die. And I kind of give him a look back that says 100%. And I would be ready. I would be able to expose on any of these people in a moment's notice. And if I didn't know them, you'll get to know them even better by the end of the time I'm talking. So that's very nice.
That's one of my favorite things, man. Your EBI, I just watched the John Calistine one. I'm a huge fan of John Calistine. I've met him once or twice. Great guy. Obviously, I was rooting for Gio, but I was happy for his story. Your interview with him was awesome, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
him
that.
crying. Like, I mean, that's what we want to hear. We want to see the vulnerable side. You get to bring out these strong, masculine guys and make them admit that they cry in between matches. And honestly, that's really refreshing to hear instead of everyone always, I hug. That was my black belt speech. So seeing that another guy's crying in between matches made me feel a lot less, a lot more manly
I appreciate
about my
that.
hugging. So,
well, we definitely have some cool stuff still. We've got Ben Eddy interview and some other stuff. So keep a look at it on the YouTube page. I appreciate that. Kevin, you have anything you want to say to Matt? But I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about him now. I mean, that was a great compliment to me. What do you have?
Difficult, when someone trains in the huggable bear lab of a place I would love to travel to, and I really mean this. I have zero desire to go to Alabama. I mean, less than none. Like, if someone said, hey, there's a faster way to get to Kansas and it's through Alabama, I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. I'll just take the long way. I would come to train with you, to train with BMAC, to train
He
with
would not want to see you.
Fine, I understand that. I'm just saying I would.
Okay.
At the fine people of the 10th Planet Decatur, post-song, obviously rap, or to perform it live. Those are the only 2 options. So Matt, we appreciate you swinging by this evening. You're a beast and an extreme badass. Not an easy place you got your black belt from. I mean, a pretty easy place comparatively, but not a terribly easy place to get a black belt. So it's a compliment. And we'll chat with you again soon, sir. But we really appreciate it, and you're just a little bit the man. That's all I'm going to say. Rap, just a little bit.
That sounds good. Well, listen, Matt, we look forward to having you on the show next week. Go enjoy yourself, and we'll see you very soon, sir.
All right, guys. Hey, nice chatting with you guys. Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, Kev will be rocking some Nogi attire picked by yours truly. So, all right, guys.
Raph, always a fun podcast where we can over under in UFC. There was a UFC card that this has to be a thing other people have had a problem with. I set the DVR to record it. I guess I didn't realize I needed to specify, hey, there's a chance the UFC is going to bring back, they're going to show Andrade Torres for 47 minutes of the broadcast, and you're going to miss Emmett Stevens. And I didn't set it to not miss that. Missed it. Turned it on today. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I know. I'm sorry about that. I mean, but here's the thing. You didn't miss much because
I missed one big thing. I missed
which
one
is?
big thing. It was a knee to the head from Jeremy Stevens to Josh Emmett.
Well, if you didn't see it there, you could have seen the UFC desk argue about it for 20 minutes afterwards.
Yeah, except I DVR'd it. Turned it on this morning. But for sure, I definitely could have seen that. I just, look, UFC, I mean, there were 4 fights, and you had 2 hours and 31 minutes worth of content. At least two of them ended. Which means that's a lot. I mean, the first fight, so OSP Lilith ends in the first round.
Yeah.
The other two go the distance. Stevens, Emmett ends in the second round. That's a lot of commercials. And
but Kev, in their defense, though, do you really want to let that episode of Cops ride its way through?
No.
You
definitely don't.
You want to do the things. So I just want to point out something. Karen Bryant did message me because I was giving mess to them on there. And I said, in a meme, I said, yo, I've seen conspiracy theorists look at the JFK shooting less than these people have looked on those illegal knees and elbows. So thanks, everybody. We're good. I think we can agree this. I think that we had Stevens, who was going to win.
If not already had one. Frankly.
Had one, and then in the process of trying to make sure that he was winning, maybe got a little careless with the elbows to the back of the head, at which point you just worry about the fighter and you hope that they're healthy. On the other side, it really wasn't going to change the script on how it was ending, so there is that. So I understand it. We all want to keep fighters healthy, but at the end of the day, 20 minutes. So the thing that Karen Bryant was telling me was she said, you were going to give us mess if we didn't talk about it, which I did tell her, and this is true. I said, hint, I'm going to give you guys mess always. Doesn't matter what you do. You have Daniel Cormier and Michael Bisping, and you expect us to not give you mess? And then for an added bonus, you put a little bow tie known as Dom Cruz in front of us and don't expect us to go ahead and make fun of part of this? Karen Bryant, you were holding the ship a steady while you've got those yokels being ridiculous. So yes, we will give mess, as one says. So there is that. Kev, breaking news though. Jacare Souza is going to be taking on Kelvin Gastelum at UFC 224.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm into that.
That is great.
Conor McGregor says that he will be fighting very soon. Doesn't really specify exactly how. It's been rumored he's going to be at UFC 223. Not this one, but the next one.
Next one.
And he says that he tried to save UFC 222 against Frankie, and the UFC said no. You buy that?
Conor said that?
Mm-hmm.
That would have been awesome. No, I don't buy that.
Okay.
They
Just
would have
wanted to
said
make
yes.
sure.
They wouldn't have been like, it's Yana K-Words chance.
K-Unit.
K-Unit, Skya. So that's who we're going with. Yeah,
Well, I'll
sounds
say
right,
this.
Connor.
It does seem a little odd that Connor didn't say a word about Khabib or Tony, but the minute he heard Frankie Edgar needed a dance partner, he was like, "Me money," which
How do
is
I
his way of
pay?
saying
I'm ready.
So just a little awk on that one. Hey, get this. If you guys are going to EBI 16, I would highly suggest you go get your vacation tickets right now because Canelo and Triple G Part 2 is going to be taking place there on that same weekend, unless we hear differently. But that is May 5th over in Vegas. So get excited, everybody. On the same news, though, Kev, the whole black belt world kind of lost its mind last week. There was some black belt drama that was boring. I'm not even going to bring it up. But one of the effects of it is Gordon Ryan and Vinny Magalhaes, who were going to be on EBI 16 and have a slap fight, are now going to be on ACB and do their match there.
Which means they were stolen.
I mean, I don't know if they were stolen. I mean, they're just not competing at EBI, doing a slap fight, and now they're doing jiu-jitsu for a Russian organization.
That
that's
old
it.
chestnut.
Exactly. And this is the worst. Dillashaw going out, and now Henry Cejudo coming in to fight Mighty Mouse is just like, we've seen that before, and we had some people who were speaking very highly and being like, oh, yeah, I want to see this again. And I just kind of go, oh, really?
I don't know that I do.
I don't know whatever on that one. It was also announced that part of Mayweather's crew says he will fight MMA.
Look out.
Okay. If you say so, guys.
They definitely might.
I hope. I think that's what I put as the note. I hope he does. Bet you won't. So there was that. And, I mean, really, Kev, that's going to do the news. Oh, wait, one big thing. I sent this to you. I don't know that you actually looked at it. But a new artist by the name of Raw Lick has a new set of songs that he has put on his YouTube page. This one in particular that I sent you today says hate/love. Did you look at any part of this?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he put up a new song that's called hate/love. And okay, to put it bluntly, I put this on our Facebook page and I said, hey, describe this song in 3 words. Normally, a lot of people come and chime in and put their 3 words. This was a very, very fierce rejection of that offer. One person liked it. They just said, nope, we choose no. And that very rarely happens where we say, hey, describe this in 3 words. Most people are killing themselves to be like, it was dumb. I hate this. Oops, I knew that. And then you're like, that's not 3 words. But in this particular one, and maybe they're right, Kev, because you ever know the song Informer by Snow? It was that Canadian rapper of the 90s.
I don't know.
Okay. He's the one that goes, Informer. That guy?
Yes.
Okay. That music video, take that they did in the 80s or the 90s, and then add like golden showers. And you essentially have the video for hate/love. And if you guys think I'm wrong, you can hit us up and tell us at VerbalTapCast on Instagram, on Twitter, on Snapchat, on Facebook. But I'm pretty sure that's a pretty accurate way of describing that video.
I like that people rejected the premise. Like, we're not playing.
Kev, it was a harsh one, and I was interested to hear. Anger. I mean, but okay, as we start to close, I'm going to send it to you. You don't have to like listen to it. I just want you to kind of look at it and see if I'm wrong. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for, I guess, the news, Kev. I think we're ready to... Oh, just to update you guys, it has 2 upvotes.
Oh, I'm on it now, and still only 2 upvotes. It only has 82 views, so that's not great.
Well, I think it's a good time as any
Well,
to
I hate it,
jump
and I
to-
hate it. And we'll move into some shout-outs. This is not good. I'm going to give mine out to Jubera. They had some fantastic competitive success this past weekend. The kids showing up. Will had an amazing brown belt showing. I watched him just without getting exhausted destroy someone. Eric Coe, you told me he won Friday.
Yes,
you're
I
the
did.
only reason I know that part. I saw, as did Lovato. So big win for the whole crew. Jubera looking awesome in his Jubera sweatshirt. That will do it for me, Ref.
Let's go ahead and give a shout out to the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club.
LAJJC.
It's a great week for training over there. Just to let you guys know, we do have lots of training. I mean, Jason Hayden was stopping by. So you idiots, if you're not training with us in the morning,
What?
I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, I got the opportunity to roll with him because he's the shit. So we rolled and then we got breakfast.
Oh.
Like civilized folk do. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you guys can train with us at the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club, and then that is at 8 a.m. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it is at noon. So if you guys are looking for some time and opportunity to come train with us, those would be the ideal times. Also, shout out to Valley Martial Arts Center. Had some awesome training this past couple weeks. Specifically, Joey and Mark Armstrong did an amazing seminar. I wasn't able to go to it, but I heard complimentary things from tons of people on that. So I wanted to go and pay that forward. And, it's been a crazy week, guys. But I think today is going to be the first time I shout out my puppy, Kev.
Oh.
I'm going to shout out Lucy. You know why?
She didn't bark?
No, she's right now playing like crazily
So
with my
random.
wife and running around.
Oh, okay.
But for the most part, she's barked less. And I will tell you that she now has her own Instagram. And I think it's building faster than our Instagram. So this is the moment when I'll probably retire from doing
There you go.
Verbal Tap.
Finally.
And I'm just going to go full time into doing puppies. Look at this puppy. She just ate something.
It's a
Ta-da.
It's a great idea. It's not a good idea, Ref. It's a
Would-
great idea.
When we start to parlay that. And as a heads up to you guys, a nice little teaser. If you like the show that we produce here, stay tuned. The return of Early Late Night, my late night comedy talk show, is coming out very soon. So we'll have more information for you guys about that in the next week. But until then, I think that's going to do it for me.
That'll do it for us tonight here at Verbal Tap. I'm Kevin. Thank you for listening.
Good night and good fight.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is